Welcome to A Matter of Balance. My name is Julie Ward, and I'm glad you've joined me today. Some of you, if I could see you, would be familiar faces, and perhaps some of you are new faces. A matter of balance. What are some of the things that you balance, maybe on a daily basis, a weekly basis? You may think about, first of all, you may think about your body in a sea of gravity trying to maintain your balance. Nobody wants to fall. So we definitely want to keep that balance in our lives. Or maybe a balanced diet. Making sure you get plenty of fruits and vegetables and a variety of nutrients to keep your body healthy. Perhaps balancing your time, dividing it up where it needs to be. Lots of balance. There's a lot of chemical balance, fluids on the inside of us, numbers that need to stay balanced. And thankfully, exercise has a lot to do with that, so we're going to help that today. Now, one thing I can't help you balance is your checkbook. You're on your own with that. So today, I want us to take a look at the total body and think about balance in the body, what is required for us to keep our balance. But not only that, balancing strength among all the muscles. We don't want one muscle group to be strong and another one to be weak so that one has to overcompensate for another. But we want balance in our body and all the muscles to be strong. We want flexibility. We want the muscles to be flexible. We're going to look at joint mobility in all the joints in the body. We're going to do that in this 1 hour. All you'll need is a chair, a comfortable, sturdy chair, one without arms preferably. And I've got my shoes off so I can move my feet better. It's very important that we get right into the footwork, into the ankles and the toes and strengthening arches. So make yourself comfortable with comfortable clothes before we begin. Now, I will say if there's any pain or discomfort in anything we do, then just stop. That's perfectly fine, because exercise should not be painful. So listen to your body. Work all possible joints. Maybe one shoulder works better than the other. And let's just look at a variety of exercises. We're also going to increase our circulation from head to toe, the mobility of the joints, the strength of muscles, what we need to stay active, to stay independent. We need this body working at its best. So, come up on the edge of your chair. The first thing I want to address is your posture. And as soon as I asked you to come to the edge of the chair, you had to use your muscles throughout your core, your abdominals, the muscles in the back, the chest, the upper back, the shoulders, to keep you upright since you're not leaning on the back of the chair. So we're going to stay here for just a few minutes to train these muscles. It doesn't take big bulky muscles, but it just takes muscles that are trained to do their job. So sitting nice and tall, pull your ears back so that your ears are over your shoulder. Make your neck long, and think of pulling the top of your head to the ceiling. That's going to elongate the neck. It's going to create a better path for your blood to flow up to your brain when that neckline is nice and tall. Now bring your shoulders back just a little, squeeze gently between the shoulder blades, nothing big. And lift up right here in the diaphragm. That's the base, right here, the base of your lungs, the floor of your lungs. And that muscle runs from front to back. And you can either collapse here or you can pull up a little taller, like pulling your ribs away from your hips to create space there. And it creates space for the organs to function better, to get better circulation here. And it creates more space for your lungs to expand so you can breathe deeply and get the oxygen in that your body desperately needs, every cell. Now walk your feet out. We think about balance. You need to be balanced in the chair. You've got 3 foundations here. Your seat solid in the chair, 1 foot and then the other, 2 and 3. And we separate to create a broader foundation so you'll feel better balanced. All right, maintaining that posture. Let's just start by lifting your heels right up off the floor. And put them down and lift your toes off the floor now. It's like rocking back and forth onto the toes and then rocking back from the heels. Now I want you to notice what's happening in your lower leg when you do that. The muscles are changing shape every time. They're stretching as the toes come up. They contract as you lift the heels. And that muscle massage is taking place. You're creating blood flow down into the feet, back up the body, back up the legs. So it's really a marvelous exercise to create mobility in your ankles, lifting and lowering. Now keeping your toes up, separate your toes and pull them apart almost like you would your fingers. Now see what you can do with that. They may or may not go very far. That's okay. Go where you can, pull them under, and draw your heels across the floor. And as you draw your heels across the floor, it's like a caterpillar crawling. You're strengthening your arches. Feel the arches tighten. We want the muscles to stay strong in the feet. We want those arches to stay strong so that we can be comfortable in our feet, but we can walk better. Better circulation means you're going to feel those feet. And that's going to be better for balance, using those toes. So bring those heels right behind you. Just go as far as you can and then pull it back in. Now it's probably a good time to check your posture again. Pull up nice and tall, squeeze the shoulder blades back in, ears over shoulder. Maintain that as you lift one leg and then the other. Now notice there's no leaning going on. I'm not leaning back, I'm not swaying around, but you use your core strength, your belly button pulled toward your spine will tighten up your abs to help support you while you lift this leg, bringing strength into this major muscle group, the quadriceps. These are important muscles. They help you walk. They get you up and down off the floor. Maybe you don't want to do that much. Or you go up and down stairs, in and out of chairs. These are your workhorse right here. Now let's leave that leg up. And against the force of gravity, you're going to build some strength. But as we hold it up, circle your ankle. Now think of making a big circle with your big toe. A slow circle. We don't want to cut any corners. And if you place your hand here, you're going to notice that muscle tightening, contraction, and release. So there's that massage that's taking place. Let's go the other way. Making sure we're not stirring the leg, but we want to isolate it right into the ankle joint. Lots of tiny bones there. Now place that foot down. Put it down with control, and then lift the other one. Check your posture, and let's circle here. Now you need to know that synovial fluid surrounds all of your joint. It's in a sac. And it releases only when you move. So as you move this joint, it separates and pulls apart. That slimy substance, that synovial fluid, is released into the joint. And as it's released, that joint pulls apart. The fluid oozes between the joint, bathing that joint, so it's lubricant. It's a lubricant that's going to move better for you. And that should feel pretty good. All right, let's put that foot down. Incline your body forward and from the hip here, so your back is still nice and long. Lift your arms and then cross your arms and see if you can touch your knees. Now as you reach for your knees, keep your arms nice and straight. Lifting up, crossing again. You're going to feel a stretch right in the upper back. That should feel really good right there. Stretching those muscles across the neck area. There's the stretch. But look what happens when you try to lift from this inclined position. You're going to build strength into the shoulders, and we need that strength because those bones are heavy. Lift up. All right, let's do one more. And this time, lift your body up. Lift your arms higher. And take a nice deep breath. Breathe in. And then exhale. Not because we're out of breath, let's do that again, but because we need more oxygen. We need to exercise these lungs. Pull the air deep down into the depths of your lungs. And then big exhale, all of it out. We get rid of the impurities there. Now, take your hands forward. I want you to bring them forward right at shoulder height and pull your fingers up toward the ceiling. And then without bending your fingers, bend your wrist and point back to you. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll move my hands to the side, but I want you to see your hands up. And then without bending fingers, point back to you. This time lift up and take your arms out to the side. Now those fingertips are pointing right up to the ceiling. Now point them toward your armpit. That's it. Now you should feel that in your lower arm. We're stretching the muscles there and then releasing that stretch, pulling down. So it's bringing more blood flow into the lower arm. You're going to feel that warmth there. All right, now open and close your hands. Spread your fingers. Close, make a tight a fist as you can, and slowly lower your arms. Opening and closing. A simple exercise, but it's important we keep our grip strength. Opening, closing. That's it. Now, that's bringing more blood flow into your lower arms. I know you feel that warmth now. Very nice. Now, with your hands here, I want you to circle your wrist, counterpart to the ankle. Now, much like we did the ankle, I want you to go slowly. I want you to relax your fingers to get a bigger circle, and then go back the other way. Mobility in the wrist, in the hands. We want to keep those hands strong. Think how much you do with your hands every day. So keep the mobility there. Now, slowly open those hands out. Turn your elbows down. Now your palms are facing up. Now rotate the shoulder forward without changing your posture, and turn your palms back up and your elbows up. And then continue to roll back and forth. Now it doesn't matter how far you go, just go as far as you can. And your body will tell you when to stop, but you're going deep into your shoulder now. We're working to strengthen the shoulder, not just on the outside, but on the inside. Getting into those rotator muscles. Rotator muscles are stabilizing muscles. They help protect the shoulder in movement throughout the day. Now bring those arms down. Wow, they got heavy, didn't they? Shake that out. All right, let's take another big breath. Breathe in. Pull the air deep. That's where most of that oxygen exchange takes place, into the blood. And all this movement you're doing is moving that oxygen around to every cell in your body. Breathe. Bone cells, nerve cells. We need it all. Come on down. Muscle cells. There you go. Now walk your feet in a little bit. If you can get your hands onto the corners of your chair, I want you to bring your hands down. Now we've done a lot of preparation for the hands and the wrist here. If you can't reach your chair, your arms aren't long enough, you might try reaching back to the back of the chair here where I have my hands. We're going to put some pressure on the wrists. So push down with your hands. You don't have to make any effort to lift your hips, but just lighten the load a little bit from the chair, and then release. Lifting the hips will depend on the length of your arms, so don't push into your feet. Just push into your hands and feel that strength going right from the wrist up into your arms, actually up into the back, across the chest and into the back, pushing down and then releasing. Now if you're comfortable with this, go with me. If you're not, just push down on the chair again. If you're comfortable, walk your feet out just a little bit. Take your seat off the chair. Now you're supported in the air with those hands. Bend your elbows just as much as you want to go, but remember you got to come right back up and then come up and have a seat. That's a big weightlifting experience. That's your total body weight, and you're working to strengthen triceps right here, the back of the arm. So again, if you want to just push on the chair, you can. You may want to just walk out and walk back in, but if you'd like to go down, just go where you can. Your elbows will go straight back. That's a big weight lifting coming up, isn't it? And back. So you have three different options: push, lift, or lift and lower. And we're building straight. Look how close you may be able to come to the floor. It might be an option to actually go to the floor if you wanted to. All right, shake that out. Release that pressure from your hands and your wrist. And let's take an arm circle. All right, this one's going to come up right by our ears and then come back. All the way back. Now try not to let your chest turn. We want full range of motion in this shoulder. That's it. Let's do one more. You're increasing the blood flow. Remember, where there's movement, there's an increase in blood flow. And reach right back. Oh, didn't that feel good? Let's take the other side. Now as you lift up, remember that synovial fluid is also being released. So that slimy, that lubricant being pumped into that joint to make that movement frictionless, make it feel better. And again, if there's any discomfort, you can shorten your range of motion or just stop when you need to. All right, can we take them both up? Reach them both up. Can you come right by your ears, open wide, feel that openness in the chest, and then reach your arms back, all the way up, bring them down, right to your knees. Now pick up your hips and walk back to the back of your chair. You'll be glad to get back there. But even though we're going to rest the back now into the back of the chair, I still want you to think of pulling your belly button toward your spine to support low back. Create that space in your chest by gently squeezing the shoulder blades together. I don't know about you, I haven't had a haircut yet, so you'll keep seeing me brush my hair back. It's been over 3 months, so some of you may not recognize me. You may have longer hair right now too, so sorry about that. It'll just keep going back. All right, while we're here, bring your legs in, and let's start by just swinging the legs back and forth. What a nice free feeling. Now, you might need to lift your legs a little bit if your legs are long to get your feet back under the chair. But go for that full range of motion. Just a free swing. As we extend the legs out, you bring into the fitness into the quads here. You're pumping fitness right here into these quads. Now, let's take one leg out, point your toe down. Now, pull your toes back and push your heel forward. That should feel pretty good. Point again and pull back. Now, ankle strength and flexibility is so important for balance. We're talking about finding balance in our life. These ankles need to stay strong. The muscles in the low leg need to stretch. When you pull your toes back, you are lengthening not only the muscles in the back of the leg, but that Achilles tendon too. Excellent. Now let's try the other side. Pointing down and pulling back. Now as you pull back, that lengthening, if you ever get those cramps in your lower leg, which I've gotten at night before, they'll wake you up, they're painful, pull your toes back, lengthen the back of that leg, and pull that tightness out. When a muscle cramps up, it shortens and it gets kind of stuck there. So gently pulling the toes, pushing the heel forward can help to relieve those cramps. Now let's alternate. Think of pumping blood into those low legs, down to the ankle, into the toes. Now go back to your ankle circles. Nice, smooth. You can see the legs staying still. Now bend your knees and bring your feet down all the way to the floor. All right, this next exercise is going to bring a lot of fitness into our quads here. It doesn't look like much, but it's going to require an enormous amount of work. I want you to lift this leg. It didn't go very far, did it? And come back down. And lift again. Now try not to jerk it. Try to keep it smooth. And you know, you can't lift this leg. Obviously, you know the work is here, but also you can't lift without the work coming into your abdominals. These are part of your core muscles. Core muscles are important for balance. Let's try it on the other side. You might notice one side works a little better than the other. And it's not about how high we go, but just trying to engage all these muscles here and across the lower abdominals as you lift and you lower. And that's all. Now take them both out. And just like you're swimming, I want you to kick your legs. Nice straight legs, flutter kick, up and down. Notice the seat tightens, and as we kick, we get more strength here, more blood flow, and release. A great way to warm the legs up. Take them both out. Without letting them drop, open the legs to the side, come back in, and then release. All right, nice and smooth. Now we've got both legs involved. A little weightlifting experience here. And as we take that stride, we're opening up the hip, building strength, not just in the quads, but the inner, the outer thighs, the abdominals, all come into play. All right, this time take your legs out, just a little bit here. Bend your knees and place your feet down. Now take hold of your chair. The spine. A lot of us have those aching backs and we don't know what to do for it. But it's time we take charge of that back. Your back moves in 3 different ways. You need to do these every day. So we're going to take the chest forward first. We're moving from the hip. Hang on to your chair. Lift your chin just a little. All right, now the chest pushes forward. The shoulder blades squeeze together. There's your strength. Now look into your lap. Tuck your chin, round your back, and roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Now that should feel pretty good. Let's go again. We're strengthening as we go down. Remember to squeeze the shoulder blades. Keep the chin lifted just a little. You're bracing with your feet. There's your stability, your strength. Now get that mobility in your spine. Look into your lap. Keep looking down as you roll up, putting 1 bone at a time back against that chair. And think of stacking 1 vertebra at a time. Your chin comes up last. Let's go again. Over we go, squeezing shoulder blades. It should feel really good. Now, tuck your chin, round your back, pull your belly button towards your spine, and continue to roll up to the top. All right, that's one way it moves. Let's look at a second way. As we lean down to the side, keep your back against the chair. Now the top part, your top shoulder will want to leave the chair, but I want you to keep pushing it back, both sides, so we really anchor and get the mobility right here, that stretch in the spine, moving to the side. It's important you keep your hips in the chair. So don't let this hip lift up, but anchor it down and just go where you can. You don't have to touch the floor, and then slide back up. Now you'll begin to notice we not only get the mobility, but we get the strength right here in the part of your core. These are obliques. They wrap from back to front, and that's what you're strengthening to help to bring you up. That's your waistline, those obliques. Coming up. All right, third way your spine moves. Let's take the back off the chair, lift the elbows, and take 1 hand back. Turn and look as you go. Because as you follow, you let your eye gaze follow your hand, your neck turns. Remember, that's part of your spine. Now pay attention here. Don't let your hip lift off the chair. Anchor your hips, anchor your feet, so that movement in the spine is isolated, that beautiful twist. Doesn't that feel good? And come back. Let's go a little quicker maybe. Back. A fling to bring more stretch across the chest. And you can even turn your palm upward, and you'll feel a little more through that upper arm and into the chest. All right, that's enough. Bring your arms down. Now take a big breath. Breathe. And out. Now lift your arms up. Without ducking, take your hands right behind your head. Clasp together, thumbs pointed down, but don't pull against your neck. We're going to bring these elbows in. See where you can go. And then open out. Squeeze your shoulder blades in. Now we're back into those posture muscles. And this is shoulder flexibility. It's okay if they don't touch. Just keep your hands gently clasped and pull in. Oh, getting a little closer. And then back out. Bring your arms down. Now reach to the floor. You got those feet separated. There's your stability. Reach down. I want you to reach out toward me all the way up, as high as you can go. Now see what this feels like. Open the chest. Doesn't that feel wonderful? That big stretch across the chest, that mobility in the shoulder. This time, when you get your arms parallel to the floor, right beside your ears, I want you to climb up the wall, one arm at a time. Now both arms stay straight. And as you reach and stretch, pulling up against the force of gravity, it's a good way to strengthen the muscles in your back. Lifting up, and when you reach the back of that chair, just let those arms open. Return to that chest stretch. All right, this time we're just going to scoop again. No climbing. Just tuck the chin, reach out, come on up. Now pull your knees in. If you can, slide down to the edge of your chair. You may need to pick up your hips and move them depending on what kind of chair you're in. All right, separate your feet, but I want you to keep them bent. Your hips are as far forward as you can go. Well, turn sideways. Now, you can be in your chair, but still have your back arched. That's going to put a lot of strain on your low back. We're going to work to strengthen the core, the front here, the lower abs. And to do that, we have to rest the low back. So you'll need to pull your belly button toward your spine. Do you see that shift, that pelvic tilt? It opens up the spine here. So it's at rest, and all the work will come here. And that's what we're after. So again, in the C position, that's why I call it C. Think of letter C from head to your knees here, that round shape. Pulling in as tight as you can. I can't see my notes. Let me get them in here. Let's go for that back stretch. Remember that arm circle? Reach your arms back. Now pull your knee in. This will give you that openness in the back that we want, right there. Pull in where you can. Place the foot down and take the other side. Now this is a back stretcher, opening the back. But when you put the foot down, can you make sure you maintain that strong contraction here and keep the spine open in the back, that curve. It's okay if you don't touch here, just go where you can. And then come down. And let's do one more. Big circle here and come in. All right, let's take one leg at a time. Just put those arms either behind you or you can hold on here at the side of your chair. Lift a bent knee, extend it wherever it'll go, and then bring it down slowly. Now that's a weightlifting experience. That leg may weigh 18 to 20 pounds or so. Extend and bring it down. So what do we have going on here? We have mobility in the hips and the knees, so we're getting that synovial fluid. We're gaining strength in the quads, lots of strength in the core. That's our focus right here. Let's take the other one. Any height, it might be low. It could even be higher. It's just whatever you can do. Lifting, extending, and coming down. You notice we move slowly in this sea of gravity because we want to use our strength to lift and use the strength to lower. And we get stronger when we don't throw that leg back down to the floor. Now let's try a straight leg. Extend the leg, and all of a sudden a straight leg is going to feel a lot heavier than the bent knee because you've exposed more of that leg to gravity. Lifting wherever you can go. Try to keep it straight and maintaining that tuck, that pelvic tilt, so that the work is right here in the lower abdominals. Now, if you have any discomfort in your back, you need to pull down a little more and perhaps round that back a little more, and just don't lift so high. Bring the other leg up and come down. Keep it nice and smooth. It's heavy, isn't it? And it gets even heavier. But as we work to strengthen our core, you're strengthening a large component of your balance. Being able to stay upright is largely dependent on how you strengthen and then learn to use your core muscles. All right, you ready for a challenge? Let's lift one leg up, and while this one's coming down, lift the other one. It's like a big pair of scissors. And when you get them both going at the same time, very demanding. So let's just stop right here and then lower this leg down with control. Whew, that was big work, wasn't it? All right, while we're here, let's do one more. Bend your knees again. Lift your heels up off the floor, the balls of your feet, then the toes, and then lift the knees so gently here, and then press the knees out. Bring the knees back in, and then come back down in reverse. So the toes come down, the ball of the foot, and the heel. Let's do that again. Thoughtfully, heel, ball of the foot, toes, lift. Now we get that big hip stretch right here. That openness in the hip. Hips are very quiet joints in most people. And so we're going to work on that just a little bit. Take your hands, lift up, push your seat back. Take a big breath. Breathe after all that core work. Big breath in. Can you take a little more? And exhale. And at the bottom here, blow out even a little extra. Get all of it out. Another big breath, pulling more oxygen in to nourish the body, and then we exhale fully, clean out the bottom of your lungs, that extra push. Everything out. All right, we began to work on these hips. Let's turn in our chair. Now for this D position, I want you to come up on the edge of your chair so that one hip is on the chair and one hip is off. Take your hands to the back of the chair, pull your foot, look down at it, make sure your toes and your heels are right under your hip. Not here and not here, but directly under. You can just drop your hand and there's your heel. All right, now chances are we're here, so let's pull up tall. Check your posture again, and with the toe under the hip, simply open the knee out. What a beautiful move for that hip. And come back and squeeze toward that other leg. Now take your time, deliberate, go out as far as you can, and then back in. Now notice this other hip is anchored to the chair, so we get the isolated work. Now you may walk, and I hope you do, walk for fitness, or just out and about, but walking only uses that forward and back motion in the hip. This is using a motion that we don't get every day. So it's good to keep this motion in the hip, to keep the joint healthy, to keep the mobility there. That's it. And we help to stretch the muscles there around the hip, and also the tendons. Tendons connect muscle to bone, and so that elastic quality is also there. And when muscles and tendons stay tight, it puts stress on the joint. And you know, this is usually where osteoporosis shows up first, is in this hip joint. So we want to keep those muscles strong. Now while we're here, lift the knee, and then pull the knee straight to the floor and reach back. Knee still bent. Now notice there's no movement in the upper body. So you're going to have to use your core, belly button to spine, nice tall posture. And as you pull the leg back, we get right into the hamstrings, into the seat. You'll feel the tightening there. And come back. Now put your toe down, back as far as you can, and turn. Notice what happens in your hips when you turn without picking up your feet. That rotation of that ball and socket joint, bringing better health there. Now once you turn, make sure you pull the foot back under the hip, hands to the chair, sit tall as you can, and press this knee out and then back in. What's good for one side is good for the other. That's balance in the body. We want both sides to be balanced. Even though one may work a little different or be a little tighter, we still want to give that opportunity to open, expand that joint, pressing out as far as you can, and don't forget to squeeze back toward the other leg to get that inner thigh strength. Out and in. Now remember that knee lift? Let's lift up and pull back and lift. That's it. All right, this time we're going to plant it behind us, turn all the way back, gaining that mobility in the hips. All right, this time I want your knee directly under your hip instead of your foot. Place one hand here at the corner, the other hand at the back of the chair. Tuck your toes under, but try not to slide your foot. I'm going to ask you to straighten this leg without sliding the foot. So what happens is the leg begins to straighten, the heel pushes toward the floor, and you may come off this chair. Chances are you will, and that's okay. And then come back down. So using your hand support, your upper body strength to stabilize your body, and then we get that stretch in the back of the low leg from the heel, that Achilles tendon, leading up into the muscles in the lower leg, and into those connective tissues behind the knee that lead to the hamstring. Feels pretty good. All right, now let's turn the other way. Once again, try not to move your feet. Make it an exercise just to turn. Place your hands on the chair, knee directly under hip, and let's do this on this side. Pressing the heel back, hips can lift and come down. Taking the time, all the time you need. Press back again, and then come down. Very nice. Let's do one more. You don't have to do all of this all day. Just 2 or 3, even 4 reps is all you need because it works the very first time. All right, now let's turn again. Now, let's take the leg forward. And you're still got one hip on the chair and one hip off, but this time your knees are together here. Hold on to your chair, check your posture, and extend just the front leg, the one next to me, and bend it. You don't have to lift it anymore, just open it up and bring it down. But watch what happens when we go to move it to the side. Here comes that weightlifting experience. Go where you can, bring it back in, and place it down. Now, the work, you need to work your core. Pull your belly button in toward your spine, sit tall, and as you go out, you're using these quads, but also the glutes back here. These are posterior core muscles, not just here, but we notice we have them here, we have them wrapping around, and then our seat and our hamstrings, those muscles are used to keep us balanced. Now, we can go slowly, or we can use momentum. Let's have a little fun with it. Extend the leg, and this time swing it around, and just turn with it. It'll help you turn. All right, get one hip off the chair, sit tall, extend one leg out, and then bend it. We're just going to prime the pump here. As you open and close, pumping fitness here, checking your posture. Now this time, let's keep it straight. It doesn't matter how high it is. Try not to let it drop as it carries to the side. It's pretty heavy, isn't it? Come back and plant it down. Let's go again. Extend. Carry it to the side. There's the seat muscles kicking in. And come down. All right, this time extend. Carry it to the side. Bend your knee and put your foot down. Now scoot your seat all the way back in your chair. Hang on to your chair. Now look at your legs. You should have this right angle. One knee pointed this way, the other one pointed this way. So you got that 90 degree in your knee. Hang on. And we're going to aim this shoulder toward that knee. Now you may need to let go of your chair with that low hand if you need to go a little further. And then slowly come back up. Isn't that a nice stretch? Let's go again. Not only are you getting that hip mobility, separating the hips, but now you're reaching down deep into your back, down into your hips, into the low back for a wonderful, beautiful stretch. And remember, you only go as far as it feels good. Exercise should not be painful. It should not hurt. So just going where you can and coming back up. Now can we get to the other side by picking up one foot and taking one foot out to the side. Now you've got that 90 degree on this side. Hips back in the chair. Hang on to your chair. Push your feet into the floor. That's your foundation. And let's take this shoulder toward the front knee, going as far as you can. and then slowly coming up. Yeah, that feels good. It just goes right down into your lower back. A nice stretch. Try to keep your hips in the chair, not lifting up, but anchoring down, increasing mobility, increasing blood flow into that area. You remember what blood does? Blood delivers the oxygen, the nutrition to all the cells in your body, but it also picks up the trash at the same time. So you're helping to clean out the debris, so to speak. Come on up. All right, let's step forward now. Sit back in your chair. How about another deep breath? Pull the air in. That oxygen is in a flash transferred into your bloodstream. Now exhale, and your body gets rid through that out breath of what you don't need. All right, let's take a little combination of some exercises we've just done. Take your feet apart. Some of you may recognize this. We're going to come forward, squeezing the shoulder blades, but only go about halfway down, right here. Now tuck your chin, round your back, and roll up. Bring your hands to the corner of the chair. This is a repeat of an exercise we just did. Now turn, press the heel back toward the floor, and have a seat. Change your hand position here, top and bottom. Now as you pull this knee through, notice you scoot your hips down a little bit and create that roundness in your back again. We're in another C shape for our spine, so we're going to work these abdominals. Extend that leg and lower it, and take the other leg, lifting. So we can just put these exercises together in a different way to make it more interesting. Let's take that one more time. Bend, extend. Any height, doesn't have to be high, but keep that roundness, keep the chin tucked in so the back is protected while the work is right here. Now, can you use your hands to push up, but let your head lead the way. See that? The head leads. We sit tall. Now, this should look familiar too. We extend the leg, bend it, extend it, and swing it to the other side. And when you get there, grab your chair, pull in, and take that front leg, or either leg, doesn't matter. Reach it up and come down. And take the other leg. Now, separate your feet right here, about shoulder width. Push with your hands. We're going to invert the spine. Only go where it feels good. You might just lift the hips up, but if you can lift the hips, keep your chin in. You don't need to take the head back. Squeeze your seat together, your glutes. Lift the hips where you can, and then have a seat. All right, take a big breath again. Breathe. And exhale. Excellent. All right, now, I want you to walk your hips to the front of the chair. I've talked about posture, proper posture, holding yourself up nice and tall. Now, that's something you do all day long, whether you're in the car driving, standing, walking, even sitting. Sitting is not the resting position for your spine. You would think it would be, but actually standing is. We're going to stand out of this chair if you're comfortable with it. If you'd rather stay seated in the chair, that's okay. But think about how many times you get in and out of a chair every day. A lot. So we're going to do it correctly. We're going to learn to do it and use our legs instead of using and engaging the back muscles. Back muscles were not intended to lift you up. So in order to bring these legs into play, I want you to notice something. Most of us, when we go to sit down or stand, we have our feet side by side. And there's no way you can get out of the chair with your feet side by side without coming forward. But see, as soon as you come forward, there can be a strain right here in the low back as you lift yourself up. So we want to try to get rid of that use of the low back to stand. And one way we do that is pull one leg back. So now you've got space this way. Doesn't matter which leg. Your stronger leg, if you do have one that's stronger, should be in the back, because that's going to be the pusher. You can stay here. You can turn to the side and have your hands on the chair and still have that space here. You can have your hand on your leg, whatever you need to do to feel supported. But see, I'm going to turn sideways. I want you to see how the back is not involved. Now, push up using your legs. Wow, that's big work, isn't it? Using your legs. Now notice you can sit the same way. Can you bend your knees, keep your feet separated, use the chair, and then lower yourself back into the chair. Now that brings fitness into the body because you're using your leg muscles. You're not using gravity to sit you down and momentum to boost you up, but you're using sheer strength. So let's do that one more time. Maybe I'll turn the other way. You might want to try a different size to see what feels the best. Pressing upward, push down with your feet right into the floor. Use the floor. Now let's come around behind your chair. And for just a moment, I want to talk about standing posture now. Now, once we stand, we've got to manage this part of your body here. This is our center of gravity. It's where most of our weight is. And if we just let it go, and if we have not the support here, we're going to tip and create a curve in the back that can be uncomfortable. Remember, you've got heavy contents. Most of the viscera are here, and they're heavy. You're also made on a slight tilt anyway. You on these rollers. Think of casters that are on furniture, how you can roll furniture around that are on the wheels, so to speak, the casters. And that's what you've got here. So you're having to balance this upper body against the low body. So we want to make sure that we tuck the tailbone under just a little bit. And you can all do that because of these ball and socket joints. And as soon as you tuck under just a little bit, your abs will tighten. That's like, think about wearing a body of armor. Front, side, and back. And this armor supports your spine because your spine can't hold itself up. So you've got your armor on, front, the belly button pulled to spine, tucking under just a little bit to create more space here, squeezing the shoulder blades gently, and remember, push the chin back so ears are over shoulder. Now don't forget to lift up in the diaphragm, that lengthening. Once you tuck under, lift here, even more lengthening, and then pulling the top of your head to the ceiling to elongate your neck. You know, that's the posture of a dancer. And that's the posture should be for all of us throughout the day if we're going to breathe better, look better, and create better circulation, because slouching just slows your circulation. So breathe it up, stand tall, and your feet, I'll step out behind the chair, your feet should be under your hips and not together. Your hips are formed apart, probably about this far. So your feet should be directly under your hips. And if you just pick your feet up and stomp down one then the other, they should land pretty much under your hips. Now that's good standing posture. That's a good foundation. But if you feel even there unstable a little bit, you want more stability, if you need to, you can take your feet wider, even shoulder width, depending on what your body needs. But if you can, right under the hips. Now push your toes, spread them out, push them down into the floor, and lift your heels up. Now if you're still seated in the chair, you can still do this exercise, lifting the heels. You might go higher on your toes than we are. Now as you lift from the standing position, it becomes weight bearing, bone strengthening. We haven't mentioned bones yet, but exercise strengthens those bones. Try not to let your ankles rock outward, but make sure they stay strong and steady, lifting the heels as high as you can. And then alternate one heel then the other, up and down, up and down. Getting that boosting to build the strength into the ankles and the lower legs. All right, now let's take a step to the side. bend the knee and soften that knee. Keep your foot flat and then pull the foot back in. Let's take the other side. Bend the knee. You can take your hand off the chair and draw in. Now you're shifting your weight. It's a big balance challenge. Your body has to respond. Now one thing that helps your balance is your posture. So keep the body nice and tall and upright. And then push the floor away. Draw your foot back in. Keep it in touch with the floor to maintain better balance. Now let's make it a little more interesting. As you step out, take this arm and circle up, right across in front of your face, and then step back in. Think about the face of a clock. You want to go around all the way around. Get that full range of motion in the shoulder. We've moved the shoulder many different ways today. It has a very large range of motion, many different ranges of motion. One more time, out and around. Good. Now, take your feet out at least as wide as your chair, maybe a little wider. Turn to the side, just pivot, so all of your toes are facing the same way. One or both hands. I'm going to keep both hands on my chair. Now bend both of your knees at the same time and just see where you can go. Now your front heel needs to stay down. Don't lift it. You need that foundation. Your back heel will lift. And then push. Use your chair to help you push up. And turn the other way. You don't have to pick up your feet. Just pivot. Now if you find your front heel is lifting as you go down, you need more space between your feet. So pull your back heel back a little bit more. Coming down and coming up and then turning again. This is a kneeling position. That knee may or may not get to the floor. Just take it down as far as it could go and press back up. It gives you a good stretch on the front of your hip into these hip flexors. But it also helps us to build strength, again, in these workhorses, in these legs that can lift us, take us to the floor with control, and lift us with control. How about one more each way? Now it's important the body stays upright. Notice I'm not leaning over my leg. I'm just going where I can with the body nice and tall. And this is going to build strength into your legs, so that when you need these legs to bring you up and down off the floor, they'll be there for you. These exercises are for living. All right, that's enough. Bring your feet back in, back under you. Take a big breath, breathe, and exhale. All right, something else you do every day besides get in and out of a chair, standing, sitting, even breathing, we've learned to do better, is walking. Now, it's important we walk correctly. I hope you can see my feet. The first step you take, your heel strikes the floor first. And then as you roll through the bottom of that foot, you bend all of your toes to push off to the next step. So I want you to walk thoughtfully, paying attention to how this foot moves, how it bends, or maybe you're noticing it's not bending very well. The toes are not bending as they should. And if that's the case, what are you going to do about it? Let's go the other way. That just means we don't stay away from the exercise, but we try to get better. So we focus in on where our weaknesses are. Look for those exercises that will help to improve. Now, the importance of using all of your foot is important for balance. You need to be able to bend those toes, feel those toes into the floor. That's their job, helping to keep you balanced as you walk. And the weight actually travels around the outside of the bottom of your foot. Now, you don't have to roll your foot outward, but just notice how that weight transfers and rolls along the foot, bending all the toes. Sometimes people will begin to shuffle their feet when they walk. They don't bend their foot anymore. Their ankles are stiff, their toes are stiff. And that just sets you up for tripping stubbing your toe, tripping, and falling. So we want to make sure that we're walking well, and walking in shoes that serve us well, giving us arch support, a good fit in the shoe, good support. So let's make sure again we get those toes up. We're going to come back to the front of the chair, see if you remember how to sit down properly. Now as you come to the front of the chair, one way or the other, you can separate your feet this way. Or one thing I like to do is find the front of a chair with the back of my leg right here. The other one is on the side, so I know where it is, and I've got my hand on it. Don't ever assume it's there. Always make sure you want to have a good landing. Now use your legs, lower down, keeping that back nice and tall until you sit very controlled. Now let's take another big breath. Breathe. And exhale. All right, with your back against the chair, I want your hands resting right here on your legs. Sit up tall. Even though you're on the back of the chair, pull the belly button to the spine. The knees are separated. Now relax your shoulders, squeeze the shoulder blades in, and lift your shoulders like an elevator going up to the top floor. Try to reach your ears. And then a smooth ride down in that elevator, coming down, going past the first floor and into the basement. And let's lift again. You know, the neck and shoulders can be a real area that we struggle with. Can be a lot of tension, a lot of discomfort, muscle tightness, pain. A lot of it is due to incorrect posture. So again, always check to make sure ears are over shoulders. When the shoulders slump forward, and that's usually the first thing to go, the head and the shoulders will follow. It strains the network of muscles across the upper back. So we need to make sure that we keep those muscles working, but not overworking to the point where they just get exhausted from trying to hold your head up because you have it in the wrong place. Now, take one shoulder and circle. This can help to relieve tension in your shoulders. And make sure that arm is resting here, so we're taking some of the weight off that joint. And on the other side. Yeah, that's one nice thing about working in the chair. As you reflect back on what we just did, most of the work was done without weight bearing on these joints, which helps us create bigger range of motion. We were able to move slowly without worrying about our balance. So the chair was a great aid in helping us get to full body exercise. Now let's take them both. Big round circles. Just make it feel good. Up and around. You just got a total body massage too. Because every muscle that contracted and released, remember, it moved blood around. And the blood brings the oxygen, it brings the good things. And it also takes the bad things away. Did we reverse that? Let's go the other way. So good blood circulation, good flow there. Release of synovial fluid into these joints. There you go. All right, now sitting nice and tall, making sure that the chin is pulled back. Can you turn and look to the side? Look over your shoulder. Now take it a little further. Can you look behind you? Even use your eyeballs and try to look around the corner and then release. Now let's look over the shoulder again. Maintaining shoulders nice and still. We don't want to turn the shoulders in the back, but turning right here from the neck, a very mobile part of our spine. Now let's look the other way. Look to the side first. Now can you look over this shoulder? You know you need this. Not just to look behind you to see who's walking behind you, but when you drive, you need to be able to look over that shoulder to see if there's anybody in the lane beside you, to see if you can pull out safely. Very important. You can't just depend on those rear view mirrors. You got to be able to look. Use your eyeballs, look around the corner. You have muscles behind your eyes. Now this time look to the side Bring your chin down towards your chest. Oh, doesn't that feel good? That stretch in the back of the neck. Now lift your chin up. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Lift your chin just comfortably. Keep your teeth together. Feel that stretch right there. Now pull the chin down again. Nice and rounded in the back there. Pull down and lift up. It's nice to have the mobility in your neck, to look up at the stars, at the clouds, to look down as you're walking, to look at the flowers. Lift your chin, even ladybugs. I've been seeing a lot of ladybugs lately. And then coming down and lifting, keeping the mobility in your neck, keeping your teeth together, and come down and turn back to the front. Now take a big deep breath. Breathe. And exhale. You know, it's good. Exercise helps to reduce stress in your body. It releases endorphins. It releases the feel-good chemicals. And if you have a high stress in your body, the release of cortisol. Cortisol can be stress hormone. Can be very damaging to your body. So you just release some good chemicals, balancing that out. Make sure you balance your rest with your work throughout the day. We're going to take a few moments here for relaxation. Might be you want to practice relaxation when you have more time, or with some soothing music that you like. Or maybe you would just like to sit outside. Sometimes it's relaxing to me just to hear the birds sing, and they are singing a lot right now in the spring. Listening to the sounds around us. Or maybe you need to tune out some of the sounds around you to get that true relaxation. But I want you to do the opposite of what we've been doing. I want you to scoot your seat, maybe not as far forward as we were, but just enough to be comfortable. Allowing your back to rest. Place your hands in your lap with your fingertips, your palms facing upward. Let your shoulders go. Let your abdominals go. And as you begin to let go of the neck and shoulder area, notice this head will get heavy. Gravity will pull your chin closer to your chest. And allow that to happen. Feel that openness through your neck area, in the back of your neck. Now close your eyes. And maybe you've never thought about how much expression you have in your face. But some of these expressions can cause a lot of tension. So I want you to soften between your eyebrows. Are you frowning? Or can you release that stress and soften between your eyes, around your eyes, the muscles in your cheeks, and around your mouth. Now keep your lips together, but separate your teeth and feel that release of tension in your jaw. Now feel the head get heavier as it hangs over the chest. Let your elbows relax so they're against your body. Your fingers are limp. Your legs relaxed all the way down to your toes. Sometimes you can get so still in your body that you can feel your heart beating. But you know, one of the hardest things to relax is your mind. So focus on how your body feels. Try to tune out any external sounds. Allow allowing your body to rest completely in the chair. Now, I want you to let your arms just fall off your lap. Just fall beside your chair. Slowly lift your head. Take your hands and push back. And take another big deep breath. Breathing in. And exhaling. Well, can you think of a joint we did not use in our body from head to toe? We worked fingers, wrist, elbows, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, ankles, toes. I think we got it all. We need that balance in the body, strength, flexibility. We need to balance rest and work. And one thing that's been hard to balance, I think, during this strange time in our lives is being safe and making good choices about re-entering the world and then balancing the time we stay in. It was really easy to stop doing everything, but I hope you're finding a way to re-enter the world in a safe way, to see people again, to talk with people again. Maybe it's through the media, telephone, FaceTime, but keep those connections and be safe, make good choices, but live. We need this body to live. We want to feel good. We don't want to be in pain. We want to do the things that bring us pleasure in life. And so I encourage you to get the best benefit from these exercises. Try to do them, revisit this tape, and do it 3 times a week minimum. It doesn't hurt you to do it more, but at least 3 times try to do these exercises, and I'll have another set of exercises when we meet again next week. So enjoy discovering where your strengths are, where your weaknesses, and remember, we take charge of our weaknesses, and we try to do something about those things instead of shying away. Have a great week, and again, revisit these exercises as often as you can as your body feels good. Have a great day. Thank you.